Hey, let's just
You need to know this. A sealed gate in Jerusalem might be the biggest end times clue we have ignored. Now it's cracking, and some say it's whispering. In Ezekiel 44, God declares the eastern gate will be sealed because the prince already entered through it. Fast forward to the 1500s. Muslim rulers break it shut to block the Messiah and plant a cemetery in front, thinking no priest would enter through graves. But prophecy says they fulfilled God's word without realizing it. And now, here's where it gets crazy. Recent visitors said the stone slabs are shifting. Locals have reported faint cracking inside the wall and even whispering sounds coming from the sealed gate. Coincidence? Or is the king stirring something beneath the surface? Some say it's symbolic. Jesus already fulfilled it spiritually, but others believe it's literal. And that one day soon, he'll walk through that gate after splitting the Mount of Olives wide open. Now, here's the truth. Symbolic or not, that gate is real, sealed, and waiting, but now cracking. No army, no wall, no grave can stop the one who wrote the story. The whispers are real. The stones are moving. The king is coming. Tag someone who needs to hear this. Prophecy is not dead. Comment, open the gate, Lord, if you believe the king is coming through, just like he said.
If you're a young guy and you got nothing going on and you can't figure life out, go on Hinge, set your Hinge to 40 plus, and start dating older women. Find yourself a sugar mama. Call it a day. Go get that Porsche. Go get that GT3 RS. Go get that nice car. Go live that nice life. You're going to have to suffer working. Why not just suffer with an older woman? It's the same thing at the end of the day. So get it now. And there's so many older women that are single now because of divorce and they have a lot of money. Like, boys, get on this. Change the Hinge to 40 plus and start hunting.
This is a prime example of what happens when you purely marry for love, not logic. This is why I teach women to take their time, to not rush into everything, to always observe his values, his character, his intentions before entering a relationship or marriage. Tammy Hembrow just announced her divorce from Matt Zukovsky after being married for only 6 months. They're basically each other's missing puzzle piece and completed each other, but not in a good way, more so in a trauma bond type of way. And I'll explain to you why. Tammy is the prize. She's the person on the pedestal. She's the one with more status, more money, more fame. She's absolutely dropped that gorgeous. She has beautiful friends, a supportive network, gorgeous family. So now the only thing she lacks, if you truly think about it, the only thing she doesn't have and money cannot buy is a romantic connection, a partner she can spend the rest of her life with, which she thought she found in Matt. He is basically lacking in all of the areas that she already has. Money, power, fame, status, influence. So for him, marrying her automatically elevated his status. For him, it's a very smart thing to do because this marriage is very beneficial to him. She offered him more than he ever offered her. She would have opened doors for him that he might have not been able to open himself. But he is the one thing that he has over her: emotional detachment. This is a man who previously has been on Love Island. Used to girls' attention, used to girls flooding the DMs, used to girls wanting to date him. Conclusion: he married her based on logic. She married him based on love. And that's why she now suffers more than he does. And I'm not saying that he never loved her, but she loved him more. I'm running out of time, so like and comment for a part 2. I'm gonna break down what happened in the relationship dynamic and why it ultimately came to a divorce. And one more time, before anybody's coming for me, I'm obviously Team Tammy, and everything I do on this account is to protect and educate women.
People on the channel right now actually are in these cities. So FBI sleeper cell warning list coming out this back in 2023. The first one is Washington, D.C. They know there are sleeper cells in Washington, D.C. all throughout New York. There's so many in New York. There's no specific locations, just the entire state of New York has sleeper cells. San Francisco, California, Santa Clara, California, Los Angeles, California, San Diego, California, Houston, Texas, Arlington, Texas, Dallas, Texas, Boca Raton, Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Orlando, Florida, Tampa, Florida, Boston, Massachusetts, Playfield, Illinois, Chicago, Illinois, Cleveland, Ohio, Laurel, Maryland, Potomac, Maryland, Harridan, Virginia, Springfield, Virginia, Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Charlotte, North Carolina, Detroit, Michigan, Columbia, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, Denver, Colorado, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, Tucson, Arizona, and Seattle, Washington. These are all cities that have been confirmed by the FBI to have sleeper cells that they are monitoring at this time. They believe they, as you heard, likely from it.
Guys, Iran does not need to attack America directly for America to feel it, or for the world to feel it for that matter. Iran's parliament today voted to close the Strait of Hormuz. For reference, this is the Strait of Hormuz. It is a vital shipping channel which over 20% of the world's oil flows through daily. If Iran's Supreme Court approves of this, that means that $1 billion worth of oil shipments would be blocked every day, which would cause oil prices to soar. This would cause economic catastrophe. The cost for food and medicine would rise. People who are just making it would fall into extreme levels of poverty. People are getting on TikTok talking about, oh, the US has the best defense system and beating the drums of war. You guys don't understand. You're playing checkers, they're playing chess. Iran has positioned themselves in a very strategic position, and they are using this position to bring global order, to make Israel and the US back down. The amount of boys getting on TikTok going like, I'm ready for war. Like, I just know that you had to sit next to your teacher during class because you stuttered when you read. Shut up. Please shut up. This is the thing about people like this, is that the only time they lock in is when something happens. History does not start when you decide to pay attention.
Another reason why we are further away than ever from World War III is because Russia and China are terrified by how the US conducted their attack. Remember, while Iran has some radar left, Russia and China have a great deal of them, and none of those radars were able to pick up 7 American B-2 bombers that flew undetected for 18 hours, refueling in midair, and then they launched an assault successfully against a hardened, well-fortified target. This means for all of Russia and China's bluster, if the United States wanted to go into those countries and drop a very powerful bomb, they would be able to do it undetected, uninterrupted. Iran did not even have a chance to launch any fighter jets because they had no idea that these bombers even went into Iranian airspace. There were also 125 other US military aircraft, and there were American submarines that actually launched Tomahawk missiles to also soften up the targets. Quoting from the Reuters article, the Iranians were unable to get off a single round, meaning bullet, at the American aircraft, and were caught completely flat-footed. And remember, Iran's radar systems were primarily Russian, which is another humiliating loss of military prestige for Russia. I made a post the other day about how Russia is losing military contracts left and right because their air defense systems and overall gear is subpar compared to what the West makes. You should watch it. The name of this operation was Midnight Hammer, and it was the world's largest B-2 strike in history. I highly suggest you look at all of the military assets used in this operation. You should pause to read this or just go to the original site because it's quite impressive. And to all the people from countries with third or fourth rate militaries who were making fun of our American soldiers who couldn't march well, it's true, we don't march well because we actually do our job working with military equipment instead of trying to look all parade fancy for our people. But even though Russia and China are terrified of what America is capable of, that doesn't mean there won't be any recourse from Iran. A few hours ago, it came out that Iran-backed militias were gearing up to target American bases in Iraq and possibly Syria. And now we're hearing reports that 1,300 pounds or 600 kilograms of 60% enriched uranium, which is primarily used for nuclear weapons, was somehow shifted from the Fordo site. But I'm very skeptical about that claim for a few reasons. One, Iran may not want to look like they've been completely cooked, so they're trying to save face. But if this is true, then this is the fault of Iran's opponent, because Iran's opponent had sleeper cells that so heavily infiltrated the Iranian military, they would have known that this material was going to be moved. And if they actually allowed it to happen or didn't destroy it at another location, that's because they want to drag America further into this conflict, which is a mistake. Right now, there is no official declaration of war against Iran by the United States, because technically only Congress has the power to do that. America did the one thing that Iran's opponent could not do. We shouldn't have any more of a role in this war unless, of course, Iran seeks to escalate against the United States and try to fire on American military personnel. And, of course, shooting down any ballistic missiles and drones that Iran fires into their enemy's territory. Now, another form of recourse that Iran has suggested 1 week before the U.S. attacked them was that Iran would wake up sleeper cells in the United States and other parts of the world to wreak havoc. And that is something we do have to keep our eyes out open for, because even though none of these countries stand a chance against us militarily, these lone wolf agents may be able to do a little bit of domestic damage just to scare the overall population. But I am not 100% sold on this sleeper cell idea, just because if any act of terror happens on U.S. soil and it could be traced back to Iran, then America's president will literally try to make Iran great again. A successful act of terror conducted against the United States would not make Trump look bad, even though it looks that way on paper. It would unite this country. It would galvanize us to completely obliterate Iran and any proxy group associated with it. The U.S. has been able to conduct a great deal of damage, and we are not even unified. Not one bit compared to where we were on September 12th, 2001. There's a reason why I said that day. But what about the multiple countries that are prepped to provide Iran nuclear weapons following these strikes? That was said by Russia's former president, Medvedev, who is just a Putin puppet. There has been no confirmed report of any country making such an offer, and if it did, that would be in violation of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Agreement, and there would be a coalition of countries that would make such a sale impossible. If you're curious about Iran closing the Strait of Hormuz, that has not happened yet, and they don't really have the capacity to do it now that we're involved in that war. Oil's been trading roughly between $72 to $76 a barrel for the past few days. If the Strait of Hormuz was closed, it would be at, I don't know, 85, 90, 100. But that'd be temporary because the U.S. would destroy the blockade or whatever mining effort was made. So if you add all of this together, the only country right now that seems to be operating from a position of strength is the United States. I know that offends a lot of people, but please give me specific details based on fact as to how I am wrong. I am the Geo Husar, and who thinks this war will be concluded within 2 weeks? Thanks for watching.
Has anyone else noticed that animals all over the world have been acting very strange recently? First off, pet owners have been reporting that their cats and dogs have been more clingy than usual, as well as more anxious and defensive, even in normal situations. In other cases, owners have reported that their pets absolutely refuse to go outside or even move, which has led some people to believe that they know something that we don't. People have also been reporting that birds have been chirping basically 24/7, including times like 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning. Birds have also been mysteriously unaliving and falling out of the sky in several different states. Specifically, snow geese and pelicans have been falling out of the sky and not being alive anymore over in Pennsylvania, while birds over in California have mysteriously been spontaneously exploding out of nowhere. Theories on why the animals are acting strange have been circulating, from some believing that it has to do with CERN opening up a portal through its Hadron Collider, to others believing that the Earth's electromagnetic field or the Earth's Schumann resonance has changed, which has caused strange behavior in animals.
You can't tell me this wasn't the plan all along. Israel hits Iran, not just randomly, surgically. They took out Iran's air defense system first, and the moment that window opened, the U.S. swoops in with 6 B-2 bombers, bunker busters locked and loaded, and they strike 3 key nuclear enrichment sites. All of it done within 24 hours, no boots on the ground. This wasn't just a show of force. This was a coordinated takedown. Israel clears the airspace. America handles the deep work. This ends the nuclear threat without a ground war and without giving Iran a chance to retaliate. Now this forces Iran's leadership to the negotiating table, because now they have no leverage, no deterrent, no more hand, as Trump would like to say. This is what strategic leadership looks like. No endless wars, no half measures, just precision, power, and peace on our terms. Well played, Mr. Trump. This is Kathy Talk. If you love America, make sure to follow for more. If not, I'll look forward to your tears in the comments.
Iran, you expected Russia to defend you. You miscalculated. You gave us drones. We gave you silence. That's how real power operates in cold decisions, not warm promises. And now I speak not to Tehran, but to Britain. Britain, You're in danger, not from missiles, but from weakness, division, self-doubt. You were once feared, respected, unbreakable. Now, you're apologizing for your own strength, letting your streets burn while your leaders debate meaningless words. You open your arms to chaos while your enemies sharpen their blades. I turned away from Iran, not because I had to, but because I could. Power gives you that choice. Britain, do you still have that choice? Look to your history.
I think
You
this is an
survived
AI.
empires, invasions, and betrayals. The lion is in your blood, but has it been put to sleep? If you wait, you will be replaced. If you act, the world will remember who you are. Now is not the time to whisper, it's the time to roar. Decide before someone else decides for you.
I said, do you have religion? And they said, religion? Isn't that something that's created by man? Do we have faith? Yes, we have faith. Do we believe that there is that which you call God? We accept that based on our science. It's no longer a faith-based idea that there is a creator, that which you call God. That truly is. Do you believe in life after death? Yes, they do. They even have means to communicate with their loved ones. It's not some parlor trick. They really have the means to do it. But there are forbidden questions that you can't ask about what happens after death. Otherwise, you ask that, you're cut off immediately.
American people have been eating dudes for the last 15 to 20 years. Everybody, breaking news. News articles are reporting that a public figure is saying the American people have been eating dudes for the last 15 to 20 years. What? Experts are saying that the American people are finding Soylent Green inside their fast food chain restaurants. What? We're still unable to
This is
confirm or
crazy.
deny these accusations, but more and more studies are coming through. But a news reporter on the ground said that they were bringing in the Navy and the Marines. This reporter stated that, quote, the Navy and the Marines have been tasting dudes for decades. They're hoping to get confirmation from these dude experts from the Navy and Marines. Once they get boots on the ground at these fast food restaurants and get one of those juicy burgers in their mouth, it should feel just like home, and they should be able to give us an answer within seconds. So I'll keep you guys updated once those articles come in. But until then, make sure you guys like and subscribe.
Hey, Pop, come on, man. Come to find out, I had a DNA test, and it came back 90% mine, so it has to be yours. I have no brother and no uncles. So how is it possible you got my wife pregnant?
Son, how long you been living with me now?
How long?
Come on, it's been 2 years.
Okay.
2 years. 2 years, Pop. Pop, she needs a pack of cigarettes. Pop, she needs a girly wrap or napkins or whatever. I didn't say anything. Come on, you ain't working. I'm the one she.
So because I'm not working, you have my woman?
No, I didn't have your woman. If somebody else could have your woman, she's not your son. She's not your. Now don't get mad at me.
Crazy.
I'm your father. Nothing I wouldn't do for you, and I'm not gonna lie to you. Yes, we've been together, okay, but ask her why this thing's happened.
Here we go. Hold on, man. I'm over here having a discussion with my father. Yes, I'm having a discussion with my father right now. Thank you. It's very important.
I thought I took the opportunity to.
These men will sleep with your woman. Be careful. Number 1. A male pastor who acts as a mentor to her. This is not to discredit all pastors. There are still genuine pastors out there, but under no circumstances should your wife submit to another man in the name of a pastor or a mentor. She's only instructed by God to submit to her husband. If only you know how many women some of these pastors sleep around with, then you will understand better. Women are very vulnerable to their pastors than to their husbands. Some women honor their pastors and hold him at high esteem more than their husbands or boyfriend. Have seen women who go to cook for their pastor who is obviously staying alone. Women in the church will share themselves and go in different days to wash, cook, and clean for a pastor who lost his wife or stays alone. Is the pastor a stick? What do you think happens there when nobody is there? I met a woman with her 2 children in the mall the other day. She saw a beautiful shoe, and the first thing that popped out of her mouth was that, "This will be nice for my pastor." I looked at her. She was wearing a ring on her finger. I was shocked. I asked her if she was married, and she said yes. And I went further to ask her, "Don't you think this will be nice for your husband?" Her countenance changed. She said her husband has shoes. Can you imagine that? So it is the pastor that doesn't have shoes? Most pastors are the reason why some women are no longer respectful or giving their full attention to their husband. A man who calls himself a pastor will call your wife to meet him in the office, and your wife will just jump up and go there. Meanwhile, she can't respond to a simple request at home. She will kneel down to greet her pastor, who is almost same age with her husband, yet she stand and talk to her husband anyhow. She's ready to buy expensive gifts for her pastor on his birthday, but some cheap boxers and singlets for her husband on his birthday. Does that even make sense? There must be a boundary between your woman and her pastor. Number 2, a politician or a very wealthy man. Money is power. Whoever has it has some level of authority and influence over those who don't have it. Don't trust your woman around any politician. A man shared with me how a politician picked him up from the crowd, gave him money and gave him a good job, and employed his wife as his personal secretary. He was sleeping with the woman anytime and anyhow he wants. He caught them one day, but was threatened never to speak to anyone about it, else he will be jailed. Of course he had the power, and the husband couldn't believe his eyes. After some months, he ended the marriage and traveled out. The politician used the woman and sacked her and picked someone else. When you see a politician being so nice with your wife, just be very careful about it. Number 3. A bestie of the opposite gender who is an emotional supporter. Your wife or girlfriend has no right to keep another man as a bestie, an emotional supporter, or just a friend who is more than a friend. If a woman agrees to walk the love journey with you, it should be you and you alone. Besties are the reason why misunderstandings take so long to be resolved. Because your partner will run to them, and they will seize the opportunity to play around with her heart. But when there's no bestie, everybody will want to reconcile fast, because no one is coming to fan the flames. She will say, he's just a friend. He is just a friend. Yet she's telling him a lot about the relationship or marriage. He's just a friend, yet she will pass the night in his place when you guys have issues. Some will say, you know, I met him before I met you. Wow. Since you met him before meeting your man, if your bestie was that special, why didn't you date him?
Yes, right.
Why giving space for a third party in your relationship or marriage?
That's crazy.
A guy told me how a lady accused her husband of cheating. They had issues that night and she ran to his place, and funny enough, it happened. Long story cut short, the husband was not cheating, but she was the one cheating. Say no to besties, it is a red flag. Number 4, a gym guy. If she must gym, go with her or get the gym equipment for her at home. Leaving your wife to go to the gym all alone with a gym instructor is a risk. Trust is okay, but there should be limits. Have you seen how these gym guys train women before? Have you seen how they use their hands on people's wives? Do you know why your wife now suddenly wants to be in the gym all the time? Some of them even have private sessions. You must be funny to think that nothing is going on there. Women go there wearing things that will allow them exercise, and some of these things they wear are unveiling. These men are not sticks, neither is your woman a wood. They will ask her to spread her arms, spread her body. Sometimes they use their hands on them. Feelings and emotions will definitely pick up, especially if the guy is handsome and attractive. Save your marriage and relationship by avoiding all of these. If she won't stop going to the gym alone, then it's a red flag. Number 5, male doctors. A nurse told me how a male doctor bangs women who come to the labor room to give birth. His excuse is that the place is not wide enough, and he needs to help make it wide. This really sounds funny, but it happens. Go to hospitals where female doctors can take care of your wife. A male doctor shouldn't be a personal doctor to your wife. Women are most vulnerable in the hands of doctors. Because it is expected that a healthcare provider must examine your body, most of them take advantage of people's girlfriends and wives. Be wise. If you are not following me, you may not see me again. Like and follow this page for more amazing contents like this.
The more betrayal and isolation you endure, the richer you're destined to be. And this is because advanced souls on a high impact path will undergo more spiritual detoxes, preparing you for your big ass purpose. So what happens is we have to undergo betrayal as a way to master discernment. Because getting screwed over in business, getting cheated on, and having your friends talk shit behind your back is going to strengthen your power. Because you stop seeing the good in people and you see them for exactly who they are, and then you can make a decision from alignment, not survival. And since betrayal is the fastest way to show you whose frequency you've outgrown, that means that you'll often enter into long periods of isolation more than anyone else around you. The isolation isn't just the aftermath of betrayals, it's also a sacred portal for you to get connected to your soul and your internal reality. The universe will pull you away from all your distractions so you can actually start to hear the voice of your soul. It forces you to become the master of your own emotions because you don't have anything outside of you to self-regulate. And the only way for your frequency capacity to be expanded for the wealth and fame that's coming in is through the shadow side, which is why betrayal and isolation precedes your quantum leap. The more times you've been fucked over and the more time you spend alone, the richer your soul is destined to be.
This is the world's largest military aircraft, the C-5 Super Galaxy. It is 247 feet long. That's 2.5 blue whales. The wingspan is 222 feet.
Alright, this is huge.
This massive unit requires 18 wheels, which you can only kind of see because the aircraft is actually lowered because of the hydraulics, and it's lowered so that when the nose is open, it's easier to get things inside. This is absolutely massive. This is the cargo space.
This is huge.
Galaxy. They would fit so much stuff in here, from satellites, tanks, like Black Hawks. And you can tell they had a lot of cargo because on the floor we have all these D-rings and ratchet straps, and then on the wall we have here these massive clamps for ratchet straps, and for the really, really big stuff, they have chains. 25,000 pounds of capacity for these chains, so that's some heavy equipment. Now I want to show you something really cool. If we gotta run, we got a lot of space. We're going up here.
This is huge.
And this is the flight deck. Up here is where the pilots and team fly this aircraft. It takes a team to fly this. Here you have all of your electrical panels, fuel generators, and over here you'll have our pilot seats. We have our co-pilot and pilot here. Let me just get a little bit comfortable. There we go. We have brakes here, and this is how we move the plane. Each of these screens have been modernized. Now, let's check out the back. Check this out. We're gonna lift the nose of the plane. Go outside.
I don't know where the pilots be right now. This is huge.
Here we have one emergency escape exit. We keep going. We got one dorm. Keep going. We got another place. That is where the pilots and crew sleep when they are switching off. Their dinner is here. Conventional oven. And the refrigerator down here, so that your snacks can stay nice and cool. Here they would have 73 troops, an entire battalion being delivered and flown to Vietnam to fight. I can't even begin to fathom what it would feel like to be a troop in here.
Just crazy. Cute. Oh, it flew.
This is the flight deck of the C-5 Galaxy.
penalties for illegal entry in other countries. So if you enter illegally Singapore, that's 6 months in prison. If you enter illegally Russia, that's 2 years in labor camp. If you enter illegally India, that's 8 years in prison. Pakistan, 10 years in prison. North Korea, obviously, death penalty. And you enter here in Canada or the US and even Europe, and what do you get? Free housing, healthcare, education, food, public transport, cell phones, cash. Come on, guys. A country can only be a country if it protects its borders. Immigration is not bad, but illegal immigration should be penalized at the full extent of the law.
Crazy. What? Look at that plate. So deep and wide.
Oh, yeah.
What?
غارقة هذه نعوموا فيها؟ غارقة ولا؟
This is serious, man.
ماشي غارقة يمكن.
It's so deep. What?
ماشي غارقة هذه. ندخلوها. كنت نشوف.
That is why women find men who do the lower lid flex very sexy. Lower lid flex is one of the least utilized, but one of my favorite cues. Biologically speaking, when we are trying to see something far away, we harden our lower lids. Like I'm trying to read the titles on your bookshelf. That is because when our eye is trying to see far, it squints to block out the light. So you'll see more details in my face when you harden your lower lid at me. If you look at People's Sexiest Men Alive, almost every man in that magazine is Zoolander. That is because when someone is trying to really focus on something and really understand something, their lower lid is flexed as you're doing right now. And boy, oh boy, do we like it when someone is lower lid flexing at us. Because it means you are really trying to understand and see me.
They took out Syria, Yemen, Libya, Iraq, Afghanistan. Iran is the last power left in the region. And it's crazy because Gaddafi, when he was alive, he actually gave up his nukes. They wanted to go.
Did he have nukes?
They didn't want him
Crazy.
shut down. But they took him out in the most demeaning and demoralizing way.
Yeah,
and
right.
You have Hillary Clinton in an interview laughing about him dying.
I gotta do my history because I don't really know. The only thing I know about Muammar Gaddafi was a Cat Williams his stand-ups.
He was in charge of Libya. The literacy rate jumped literally like 60%. School was free. Housing was a right. There was no homeless. They had no debt. No debt. If you wanted to be a farmer, it gave you land, gave you seeds. If you wanted to go to college and Libya did not have the program that you wanted, they would pay for you to go overseas.
That's fine.
In order to study. They had the highest GDP in all of Africa. He wanted to bring an irrigation system to make free water to Libya.
Free
He
water?
wanted to extend that
This nigga's
to the
holy.
rest of Africa. He called it the 8th wonder of the world.
Wow.
Free water to all of Africa.
That's crazy.
You know what NATO did? NATO bombed it.
Isn't that why something about Hillary Clinton always wanted to privatize water or something like that?
They want to privatize everything.
Shout out to Bill Burr.
Everything. Corporate interest. Capitalism. They want to privatize every dollar. If they could
Free water.
if they
We
could
trying to
charge
bottle this shit
if
up
they
at
could
Walmart,
charge
you
you for
bugging
the
out.
air you breathe,
Yeah, that's a
they would
fact.
charge you. This was all off the resources of Libya. Because when you have the resources, you can do stuff like this. And not only that, he wanted to bring a national currency to Africa, backed off
Yeah,
the
true.
resources. Couldn't have that. So he
Hell
wanted
no.
the irrigation system and a centralized currency. So he gave up his nukes. He was going to leave himself for power. They didn't want that. They wanted him gone.
Take a listen to Trump.
Obviously, the war in Iraq was a big, fat mistake, all right? Obviously, it was a mistake. So George Bush made a mistake. We can make mistakes, but that one was a beauty. We should have never been in Iraq. We have destabilized the Middle East. But I want to tell you, they lied.
Okay.
They said there were weapons of mass destruction. There were none, and they knew there were none. There were no weapons of mass destruction.
All right. Yep. That is the Trump that I voted for twice. So we elected him in 2016. We elected him again in 2024. More or less the exact same mandate. And like I said, we were excited, especially when Tulsi Gabbard became the director of national intelligence, right? And I'm not kidding when I say that 8 weeks ago in March, she testified before Congress that Iran did not appear to be building a nuclear bomb. This was 8 weeks ago, you guys. Take a listen.
The IC continues to assess that Iran is not building a nuclear weapon, and Supreme Leader
Khamenei has not authorized the nuclear weapons program that he suspended in 2003. The IC continues to monitor closely if Tehran decides to reauthorize its nuclear weapons program.
So what changed, you guys?
Not only can sex be used to perform magic, but it can also measure the amount of lustful desire your partner has for you. Disclaimer: the lack of lustful desire does not necessarily mean that your partner does not love you. In most cases, mindless passion does not trump dedication and commitment. However, the more lustful passion involved, the more powerful the experience, guaranteeing a much more successful outcome of works. Moving forward, passionate sex is described as animalistic for a reason. The more into the act one is, the less they are mindful of their behavior. Like in adult films, men that are not completely seductively lost in the act treat it as a job, show, or performance. And when it is more of a duty, they tend to be able to last longer at a faster pace, have more control of their rhythm, and at times tend to speak more to their partners. But when they are truly lost in passion, typically adrenaline kicks in and takes over their rhythm, resulting in a less controlled pattern. This behavior can typically be seen towards the end of an adult film. At this stage, words typically transition to grunts and patterns become less controlled. At this stage, the male will either slow down in order to elongate and embrace the moment, or they'll completely lose control and climax. Similarly for women, in the midst of lustful passion, a once vocal and controlled performance will turn into a more adrenaline-driven rhythm. It is at this time, in the midst of heightened animalistic rhythm, when both parties involved in guiltless sex should begin to speak their goals, and should do so up until climax.
Interesting.
We knew the world would not be the same. Few people laughed. Few people cried. Most people were silent. I remembered the line from the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. Vishnu is trying to persuade the prince that he should do his duty, and to impress him takes on his multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." I suppose we all thought that one way or another.
We will not allow Iran to acquire a nuclear weapon.
If I'm the president, we will attack Iran. Whatever stage of development they might be in their nuclear weapons program in the next 10 years, during which they might foolishly consider launching an attack on Israel, we would be able to totally obliterate them. That's a terrible thing to say, but those people who run Iran need to understand that.
Make no mistake, a nuclear-armed Iran is not a challenge that can be contained. It would threaten the elimination of Israel, the security of Gulf nations, and the stability of the global economy. It risks triggering a nuclear arms race in the region and the unraveling of the Non-Proliferation Treaty. That's why a coalition of countries is holding the Iranian government accountable. And that's why the United States will do what we must to prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon.
As long as I'm President of the United States, Iran will not get a nuclear weapon. I made that clear when I came into office.
And look, I mean, Iran has American blood on their hands, okay? And what we saw in terms of just this attack on Israel, 200 ballistic missiles, what we need to do to ensure that Iran never achieves the ability to be a nuclear power, that is one of my highest priorities.
So if you have, so everybody was on board with it. Hillary Clinton ran and lost to Obama in 2008. It's now 2025. They talked about this back then, from 2008 to the Obama administration, to the Biden administration, when Kamala, whatever her name is, Mrs. Harris, when she was vice president, when she was running, everybody talked about it. Iran does not abide by anybody's rules. They do not care. You can go with whatever submitted you want to say, dude, tore up the agreement. There was never no agreement. Either you do this or not. That's it. They were never supposed to have the nuclear stuff that he bombed. It wasn't never supposed to be there. That's why when they sent the bombs, it was made to go 30 feet deep in the ground. That's what they shot over there. And that's why they was able to get him. He was building it through Intel, and through Intel takes years of Intel. Years. It's not something you find out in 6, 7, 8 months. No, this is years, and it's passed on through each administration. That's how they know what's going on. They have to brief each other. So after inauguration, they would have what's called a briefing. And they briefed for a couple of days. Every president, and then they come out, then they got to say what they got to say. They address the nation. These things never go anywhere, no matter if it's Republican or Democrat. These issues always are just there. And if they violate, do what you got to do. Or else, you suffer the consequences behind those people who are extremists, do whatever they want to do. They do not care. To this person right here. Wherever we put this at.
This is massive.
انفجار كبير هز العالم.
هذا البور عم يحترق، الهنجرات عم يحترقوا، في هنجر كبير عم يحترق.
جايز ما بعرف إذا أشرفية بس بعرف إنه الداون تاون كل البنايات.
Your smart TV have camera and a microphone to watch and listen to you. Used by manufacturers to collect data for voice command and gesture control. Oh, that's not all. The CIA had a program called Weeping Angel. No emphasis on had. I see some of y'all watching my video not liking. Blow this up. So what this program Weeping Angel does, legit turns Samsung's TVs into listening and watching devices, even when they're turned off. Okay, what if you're not using the application on your TV? The USB and the HDMI that you use, they're still harvesting all that data. Now, let me tell you a little bit about cross-tracking. You ever watch something on your TV and then you look at your phone and then you see it on your phone? Because some smart TV use ultrasonic sound signals to link devices without you knowing. And having a smart TV, you're more prone to getting hacked because nobody changed the default passwords, because you rarely receive security updates.
Wait, are you saying that nuclear weapons aren't the worst thing that humans ever made? Nope, it's quantum computers. Why is that worse?
Really?
Well, it's not quantum computing alone, but the entire system built around it. Okay. You see, if you haven't noticed yet, the entire world is heading rapidly towards automating survival. What, you mean like using robots? Yeah, AI, robots, all these things you hear about now that seem relatively harmless, but what do you think is going to happen when there are more humanoid robots than humans? When they have taken over pretty much every job, are in every single household, and there are quantum computers that house the AI that is managing all of these robots. Well, people wouldn't need to work. The better this gets, the shorter the distance between an idea and seeing that idea realized. Right, so who's in charge of this? That's where things get dangerous.
Like, I know it can't just be me, but this dude is giving real Antichrist vibes. Like, he just struck Iran, and then right after striking Iran, he's calling for peace. Who's the man that's going to push peace? And mind you, he's really taken to this part. He's like, oh, we're going to bomb them, but then actually we don't want no smoke with y'all. We just wanted y'all to chill on what y'all was doing. Now we can all have peace. And imagine this. Apparently he has gotten Iran and Israel to sign a ceasefire, which is not a peace deal, but it is a ceasefire that can last up to 12 hours. And essentially, this will just give both parties a chance to kind of rethink it out, maybe redevise a plan to strike or to not strike or anything like that. However, he's trying to act like he is the man with the plan. He's trying to act like he's the big boss. Like, even in his errors, he's still trying to act like he was right. I can guarantee you after this, he's going to be like, oh, I told y'all there was going to be no more new wars under Trump. Not me saying that he is, in fact, the Antichrist. I'm just saying he is giving weird Antichrist vibes. He's pushing peace. Remember, when they say peace and safety, sudden destruction will come upon them. So all I'm saying is y'all watch out. Like, this whole script right now that's going on is absolutely insane.
Breaking news.
Crazy.
Trump just banned all permanent residents from leaving the U.S. If you are abroad now, you can't come back. This isn't just about illegal immigration anymore. Trump's new executive order affects everyone. Green card holders are stuck in the U.S. Legal residents are locked out. Your family vacation becomes illegal. The New York Times leaked the White House draft. 45 countries are now on Trump's red list, implementing extreme entry restrictions on their citizens. Even if they have valid visas, even if they have lived here for decades, 8.7 million permanent residents, suddenly unable to visit dying parents overseas, can't attend their weddings abroad. Trump claims this is to protect American jobs, but economists say it's economic suicide. Tech companies lose foreign talent. Hospitals lose specialists. Universities lose top researchers. The real question that bothers everyone, is this about security or is it killing the American dream?
Damn.
See, now sweet and spicy Doritos are peak, but this spicy Dorito ain't so motherfucking sweet. It's the B2 spirit. Let's talk about it. You ever wonder why your taxes are so high?
So weird.
It
It looks
cost
so
$2.1
weird.
billion, and we had 21 of them built.
billion.
Now, we lost one in a crash, but we still got 20 of them. So the B2 was developed back in the 80s by a company named Northrop Grumman, and they developed it to replace the B-52 Stratosphere. Kind of. And I say kind of, mainly because the B-52 is still in service today. See, I don't think y'all know how much America was cooking when they had this bitch made. For starters, this bitch got range. If you thought the C-130 had range, this bitch got range. The B-2 can fly nearly 7,000 miles without having to be refueled. Meaning, wherever the fuck this bitch takes off from, it can fly virtually anywhere in the world, drop a deuce, and then come back home. So it only flies just over 625 miles per hour, but guess what? We didn't build this shit for speed. We built it to carry shit. And because we built it to carry shit, it can carry a payload of 40,000 pounds. Now, is that a downgrade from the B-52? Sure. But if you want to be a sexy bitch, sometimes sacrifices have to be made.
Yeah,
the main
right.
role of the B-2 is deep penetration mission.
What did he say? Like the commentary, man.
So if you ever need to impregnate a bunker, this is what the fuck you want.
And we've come to the end of today's video. The last video, I really loved the commentary. He did so well with how he, delivered. So yeah, it was cool. But yeah, we've come to the end. I mean, every good thing has to come to an end one way or the other. So yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and also share with your friends. And also click on the notification bell icon so that any content that I post, you will be the first to get it. Adios, amigos. Bye.